Yo, hey, how you guys doing? This is Brandon from Time Bomb Irrigation. Thank you guys for all coming on in. What we got going on today? You guys are probably wondering, what is irrigation? And I want to go ahead and take it all the way back from the beginning. That's right, the beginning. Irrigation probably actually started what you guys would probably imagine from the earlier days when you end up having to go out there with your great-grandmother and be able to go to the well and then use that little rickety thing, pulling the water out of the well, or you end up taking a bucket down to the river to end up going and taking it to where you needed to be. That is the form of irrigation, the moving of water to one location, whether it's being man-made or it's been constructed from your own hands by Mother Nature. That does not include raining. Come on, get straight, guys. Don't get it mixed up. So I want to say back in the earlier days, they ended up going ahead and started to slowly develop irrigation, knowing that a lot of people needed it. And a lot of people ended up dying from different diseases that were illnesses based upon not cleaning your skin or not having proper cleaning utensils that could get an infection that ended up killing a lot of people. So with having to end up moving water was probably the prime idea for a lot of these cities that were early on ended up creating. And a lot of these cities were actually created based upon where the water location was, as you guys can see in earlier times and chapters, even dating way back to the cavemen. They found caves that are close to waterways or some type of waterfall, so they can be able to hunt the game that ends up going there and drinking. It's a long story. Let's not get into it. So anyways, back in the day, using it all by hand, that brutal back labor that we used to have to do for our mom and pop, that we didn't say back in the day, that was abuse. It was no abuse. I thought it was something that we were supposed to do that actually made us have a stronger back. That's how we were built, right? That's what we were doing. But no, in all reality, they were breaking our back over some water, the essential great nectar of our life. But let's be real. You guys already know that was probably the beginning process. Later on, through their development of watering and moving water around, they ended up going ahead and creating some canals and some ditches and some rivers, and allowed themselves to be able to move some water where they needed to. That didn't always work out for a lot of areas, and they ended up having to use different tools as they started to grow and become a little bit better in doing and being more efficient about this. One thing they ended up using was a shadoof that was actually on a pole with a counterweight where you were interacting while dunking the bucket into the river or canal and then placing it into the your crop that you would be growing at that time. And another one that we ended up using back in the day was a cannon. Now that guy was underground tunnels that were running all over the ground that was collecting water from the aquifers that was bringing up to the surface for the town to be able to use, whether they're washing their clothes or needing some type of water in a lot of these areas, earlier times of being able to flush toilets. So definitely something that we definitely need, and glad that the medieval times were able to take care of us. And there's some other honorable mentions I want to talk about. The Persian wheel that was done back in the day that we can end up elaborate a little bit later on with a little bit more detail on what exactly was used back in the day, if you guys are care to even know about it. Like I said, this is just a quick rundown. Now, where do we go from here? At that point, we pretty much had it all done. We were flinging water, making water balloons, correct, at this point? No, we weren't. Not even close, guys. So at this point, what happened was an industrial revolution that actually came in and was able to catapult a lot of the mechanizing of the pumps that we were able to see to this day. Yeah, so the first submersible accessible pump that was actually used was done by Charles Barnes. It was done in 1928. But just to let you know, that's not when it was actually done. In the early 200s, there was a gentleman that was a Greek mathematician. His name was Archimedes. He ended up creating the Archimedes screw pump. Now, that was the first sign of the pump that was done also by a mathematician who actually understood it, but was perfected a little bit later in the years in the 1928s and then further on. In the 20th century, two men were able to go ahead and pioneer the revolution of the irrigation system you guys see more to this day, with John Ross creating the very first sprinkler head in 1904 that were actually meant for irrigation homes and gardens. And in 1910, L.B. Harris was able to create the first gear-driven irrigation head. With the advancements that we can end up seeing over all the transitions and the changes over the years of the irrigation system, that now we are able to see more efficient heads and also controllers and sensors that are able to protect something that is a great commodity to us that we see this day. Now, back in the day, there weren't a whole lot of these things that were created, but nowadays we are actually moving more into smart irrigation and allowing ourselves to know what we are actually wasting and how we are able to prevent wasteful watering, and also being being as effective as possible with every year being able to turn on the irrigation system. I know you guys don't want to spend an arm and leg to go ahead and keep the irrigation running every year, and I don't want to watch you guys have to do that. So go ahead and call any of us, or go ahead and follow me here at Time Bomb Irrigation. I'll go ahead and give you guys a little bit more insight on what we're going ahead and using on the product and where they came from, and then as well as some tips and tricks that you guys can be able to incorporate to your irrigation system. So if you guys like this, go ahead and follow me down below, comments down there, and see how you guys like this new transition to a new video. This is what I want to go ahead and try to do for you guys, being able to fill some of the different spots that I don't have videos for because I'm having to go ahead and do a lot of work. I want to give you guys something that you guys can be able to resonate, take a look at, maybe watch, or even argue about. So this is Time Bomb Irrigation signing off. Take care, everybody.